Hello and welcome to the Armenian News Network Groong Week in Review. This show was recorded on Monday, August 8, 2022. I'm Asbed Bedrossian, here with Hovik Manucharyan. Before we begin the show, we'd like to request that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter. We're very active on Facebook, both as a group and a page, and you can subscribe and rate our podcasts, which you can listen to wherever you get your podcasts. All our Groong links are on our Linktree page. We'll make sure you can find that on all of our profile pages, so you can click on it and find us on all social media platforms. So if you like our shows, please share with your friends and follow us everywhere you are used to getting your news. Thanks, and on with the show. Here are the major topics we'll touch on today. Azerbaijan attacks Artsakh again. Since August 1st, Azerbaijan has broken the ceasefire numerous times, killing and injuring soldiers and reportedly taking control of some heights which were under Russian peacekeeper zone of responsibility. We'll also talk about Avetik Chalabyan, who was briefly released from prison, long enough to see his brother resign from his position at the Central Bank of Armenia. Then he was sent back to prison by a judge without even a request from the prosecution. To talk about these issues, we have with us Benyamin Poghosyan, who is the chairman of the Yerevan-based think tank Center for Political and Economic Strategic Studies. Hello, Benyamin. Great to have you on board.
Hi, Benyamin.
Hello, Asbed. Hello, Hovik.
On Wednesday, August 3rd, Azerbaijan carried out drone, mortar, and grenade attacks against Artsakh defense positions. This was a continuation from Monday's attacks, and 2 Armenian Artsakh Defense Forces soldiers were killed, and there were 19 injured, 4 of them seriously. 1 Azerbaijani soldier was also killed. Currently, the situation is still considered tense, and just on Saturday, 2 days ago, an Armenian soldier was wounded, this time on the Armenian side in Sotk. All these incidents were accompanied by urgent calls between Armenian and Russian leaders. Pashinyan and Putin talked on the phone 2 times this week, including a discussion today. Earlier in the week, foreign ministers Mirzoyan and Lavrov also had a call. So the flare-up appears to be centering around Azerbaijan's demand this week to stop using the Lachin-Berdzor corridor to connect Armenia and Artsakh, as well as some nebulous demands by Azerbaijan to remove all Armenian armed units from the territory. Armen Grigoryan, Armenia's chair of the National Security Council, has called this demand quote-unquote illegitimate and contrary to point 6 of the November 2020 agreement. Azerbaijan, meanwhile, is calling this an anti-terror operation, quote-unquote, anti-terror operation, in retaliation for the alleged killing of one of its soldiers. And they claim that they've taken additional hills around the western borders of Artsakh. Okay, we've said this before. It sounds like some quote-unquote peace agenda negotiations are not going to Aliyev's pleasure, and when that happens, he starts killing people. Benyamin, what do you think is not going right for Azerbaijan right now?
Okay, good question. Frankly speaking, let's separate the Azerbaijani strategy and the Azerbaijani tactics. So Azerbaijan's strategy is very clear, and we discussed this many times, to do everything first to push out the Russian peacekeepers from Karabakh in November 2025, if possible. If not possible, at least to do everything to have as few Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh as possible. So this is Azerbaijani strategy. Now regarding all this mess on previous week. But to be better understand what happened in previous week, we should jump somewhere to April, May 2022. Because I believe at the end of April or at the beginning of May, Azerbaijan started the construction of this new route. So according to the Article 6 of this trilateral statement of November 10, 2020, the wording was that within 3 years, a plan of new route should be agreed between Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Russia. Even not the road should be constructed, but plans should be agreed within 3 years. However, within 3 years, it also does not mean that the plan should be agreed only on 9 November 2023. In any case, Azerbaijan started the construction of a new highway, I believe in end of April or at the beginning of May. And construction.
Benjamin, also I should add, because we will talk about this later, but in February we had an interview with members of Artsakh's Art or Justice Party, and they said that Arayik Harutyunyan had informed them back in February that there is an agreement to use an alternate road.
Yes, and when Azerbaijan started the construction of this highway, partly the construction took place in the territory which is under the authority of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic authorities and under the protection of Russian peacekeepers. So I simply exclude that Azerbaijani workers, Azerbaijani trucks, and other equipment could enter the territory which is currently under the part of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic and protected by Russian peacekeepers without agreement between Armenia, Azerbaijan, Armenian Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, and definitely Russians also knew about this agreement. So apparently there was an agreement, maybe oral one, between all three parties or all four parties, let's say Armenia, Azerbaijan, Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, and Russia, that yes, despite the fact that there is a free year only to agree about the route, but maybe due to some Azerbaijani pressure, also Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh Republic authorities agreed that, okay, Azerbaijan will start the construction sooner. And most probably, logically, if Azerbaijan started the construction sooner and there was an agreement that Azerbaijan will start the construction also within the territory of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, then it was obvious that when Azerbaijan was going to finish the construction, he would say, okay, guys, there is no need to wait until November 2023 to agree on a plan because the road, the highway is already ready. And President Aliyev several times stated that we are going to finish the construction of this road to bring this road until Armenia-Azerbaijan border somewhere at the end of July, at the beginning of August. But from one side, Armenian and Nagorno-Karabakh Republic authorities agreed that, okay, Azerbaijan should start the construction of the road, which means that at least there was also at least oral agreement regarding the plan. Otherwise, Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh Republic could simply state that, okay, this is illegal construction. What Azerbaijan is doing is illegal. It's not based on agreed plan. That is why we are never going to use this road. But we never heard such statement from Armenian Nagorno-Karabakh Republic authorities. Then, at the end of July, the President Aliyev said that, okay, guys, as I mentioned, I'm going to finish my part of construction until end of July. Now, this new highway, 32-kilometer long, which started somewhere near Lisagor, and then circumventing Berdzor, reaching Armenia-Azerbaijan border near the village of Kornizor in Syunik region of Armenia. Aliyev said, okay, guys, I finished my part, so please stop using this old or original highway passing through the city Berdzor. But the fact was that, I'm not sure why, while agreeing with Azerbaijan that yes, Azerbaijan should start the construction of the highway, Armenian government did nothing to start the construction of this 10 or 11-kilometer highway from the village of Kornizor until Armenia-Azerbaijan border. And then when on August 1st, Aliyev first started to use force, I mean like trying to force Armenia to implement his demands, then Armenia started to say that all this is illegal, and the Secretary of Security Council made this statement on morning August 3, that Azerbaijani demands are illegal because there are no agreed plan. But the most interesting thing was that a day earlier, on August 2nd, after the escalation of August 1st, Armenian government started the construction of this highway from Kornizor until Armenia-Azerbaijan border. In the evening of August 2nd, several trucks and other road constructors arrived to Kornizor. So when on August 3rd morning, Secretary of Security Council stated that, okay, there is no agreed plan, then at least the question arose, okay, if there are no agreed plans, then based on what? The day before, on August 2nd, Armenia started the construction of its part of highway from the village Kornizor until Armenia-Azerbaijan border. And according to the Minister of Territorial Administration, Armenia needs at least some 6 months or 7 months to finish it. So it will be ready approximately in March 2023. I mean the section between Kornizor until Armenia-Azerbaijan border to join this 32-kilometer highway from Armenia-Azerbaijan border near Kornizor until Lisagor. So overall, the part of this new highway will be some approximately, I guess, 43 kilometer, like 32 plus this 11 kilometer.
Okay.
Then so Benjamin, just to reiterate, I have my own opinion, but do you believe that along with those agreements to use the roads, was there an understanding by the Armenian side that the existing Berdzor or Lachin roads would not be used, and the towns, the Armenians that live there, would have to vacate their houses and vacate their villages?
I believe there was an understanding or even oral or preliminary agreement that when the road will not be used, then Armenia will tell Armenians living in Berdzor and Aghavno to leave their homes. And if you are coming to this question, this is really, really very strange because I'm pretty much sure that there is no connection between using this road or that road and forcing Armenians to leave Berdzor or Aghavno. Because even if, okay, there was an agreement that, okay, let's not wait for 3 years to fix or agree the plan. Let's agree the plan in April 2022, and let's agree that the highway will be ready at the end of July or the beginning of August 2022, and we should use this new highway. Again, it has nothing to do with a demand to kick out Armenians from Berdzor and Aghavno. And this is really very interesting because publicly we never heard, at least I never heard, okay, I never heard that President of Azerbaijan or Minister of Foreign Affairs made a statement that, okay, after Armenians will cease the use of highway passing through Berdzor or Lachin, as Azerbaijan is called the town, then Armenian population should leave the Berdzor. Because even President Aliyev, when now he demands the dissolution of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic Defense Army, he says that any person with gun in the territory of Azerbaijan, because according to his logic, Nagorno-Karabakh is Azerbaijan, that any person with gun in the territory of Azerbaijan, which is not part of relevant state institutions of Azerbaijan, army, police, national security service, they will be perceived as terrorists and they are legal targets. But again, we are speaking about people with guns. I never heard that, again, President Aliyev, Foreign Minister Bayramov, or anyone else publicly, openly stated that, okay, when Armenia will cease the use of this original highway connecting Goris with Stepanakert, then Armenians should leave Berdzor and Aghavno, otherwise the civilians will be killed. Okay, there was no public statements. Maybe there were non-public threats or during close negotiations, Azerbaijanis transferred this. That, okay, when you will use this road and when Russian peacekeepers will be redeployed to secure or to protect this new highway, then we will kill all Armenian civilians. So if you are not want to see your civilians killed, please kick them out. But again, there were no such public statements. So what I'm trying to say is that if there were hidden or confidential threats that Azerbaijani army is going to kill civilians in Berdzor and Aghavno, instead of accepting these threats and on August 5 coming to Berdzor and on behalf of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic authorities tells these people, okay, get out from here until August 25, both authorities of Republic of Armenia, especially authorities of Republic of Armenia, because Republic of Armenia is represented in different international organizations. The authorities of Republic of Armenia should send these messages to all the relevant organizations dealing with human rights, starting from Council of Europe and ending with Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, OFT, etc. Telling that, look, guys, Azerbaijan is clearly stating that they are going to kill any Armenian civilian which is going to be under Azerbaijani control. Mm-hmm. And this should be used, telling that, okay, all this discussion pushed forward by EU and the United States that, okay, Armenia, the only solution is Nagorno-Karabakh within some autonomy as a part of Azerbaijan, and we will speak with President Aliyev. We will convince President Aliyev to protect Armenians' rights. These arguments should be used, and it should be used 1 month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, that, look, guys, if Azerbaijanis are telling we're going to enter Berdzor and Aghavno and kill all civilians, this means that there could be no Armenia living under Azerbaijani control. And again, I'm not speaking about Armenian with guns, like police, like soldier of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic Defense Army. I'm speaking about civilian population. But instead of raising this issue and creating a noise, that, okay, what the hell is going on? Like, Azerbaijan is threatening with ethnic cleansing in the 21st century. Armenian government did nothing. And then sent the representative of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic authorities, the Minister of Territorial Administration, to tell the people you should leave, which is very strange because legally now even you cannot apply to any international body and say, okay, this is a forced ethnic cleansing by Azerbaijani authorities, because they will ask you, okay, give me any public statement that Azerbaijan threatened to kill these civilians after Armenia will use this original road and after Russian peacekeepers will be redeployed.
Benjamin, I'd like to know what the strategic value is of using the new road versus the old road for Azerbaijan and the disadvantage for Armenia.
Okay, first of all, let's fix that all communications, I mean gas pipeline, high voltage electricity transmission line, and fabric optic cable for internet, they are passing along this original or old highway through Berdzor. Only now, Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh Republic authorities started to think how to construct high voltage transmission line and fabric optic cable along this new highway. When this will be finished, nobody knows, but definitely this is not going to be finished until end of August. So this means that at the end of August, everything starting from gas pipeline and ending with internet fiber optic cables will be under Azerbaijani control. And given the situation in March 2022, when Azerbaijan, I believe, twice cut the gas supply to Nagorno-Karabakh, there are no guarantees that Azerbaijan will not only cut the gas supply, but also electricity supply and also internet supply, telling Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh, you are going either to live in 19th century without gas, electricity, and internet, or you should take gas, electricity, and internet from Azerbaijan providers. And this will be another huge step towards making Artsakh and Azerbaijan. And so this is the first. Second, in any case, this new, no one can 100% say that this new highway will have the same status as Lachin corridor, because according to November 10th statement, Lachin corridor is a 5-kilometer width. And because the current highway, at least partly, is out of this kilometer width, and there are no legal documents, signed documents about this new highway, so it's very difficult to even argue that this new highway will have the same status. At least it will have the status of corridor, but not highway, because it's outside of this 5-kilometer corridor. Because simply Azerbaijan may say, okay, there was a Lachin corridor, but this highway is outside of Lachin corridor.
So there are no agreements between Pashinyan and Aliyev that say that any substitute, any new alternatives will have the same status?
At least if there are some oral, non-published agreements, it could be, but there are no signed documents that this new highway will have the status of corridor. Put it more clearly, there is no agreement publicly signed between Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Russia, because let's not forget the trilateral statement was signed also by Russia, and Russia was somehow the guarantor.
Right. Benjamin, let me take a slight detour then. Are all these oral agreements legal from an Armenian perspective? I know you're not a lawyer, but can you give just a little bit of input? Is it okay for one person to go make an oral agreement for which there is absolutely no evidence, there are no Armenian witnesses or anybody, and just basically come back and say, this is what's going to happen? Or rather, not even tell us that this is what's going to happen. We find out from Aliyev or Azeri press as an after effect of them subtly starting to bulldoze new areas and stuff like that.
It's a very interesting question, because from Armenian point of view, we cannot say that the Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, the Berdzor area or Aghavno area are part of Armenia, because Armenia did not recognize them as part of Armenia. Armenia even did not recognize them as an independent state. So it's very difficult to argue if Armenian laws have any authority on those areas. So it's difficult to say. Can you argue that any oral agreement, for example, regarding Berdzor or regarding some territories around or in Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, agreed by or reached by Prime Minister of Armenia, can be legally debated within Armenian legal area or within Armenian any type of codes or Armenian laws? Because again, we cannot say that Armenian constitution and Armenian laws are covering these territories. But from another point of view, we can also argue that, okay, if Armenian laws and Armenian constitution are not covering these territories, then why or how can the leader of Armenia or prime minister of Armenia make any agreements, legal, even not oral, but written? And this is a very interesting issue, because from legal point of view, for me, for example, this November 10th trilateral statement of 2020 is a very complicated issue, because, okay, Prime Minister of Armenia signed the declaration stating that Armenia will bring back, Chalabyan to Azerbaijan until November 15. Aghdam to Azerbaijan until November 20, I don't know, Lachin to Azerbaijan until December 1st, except the corridor. But again, if these areas were not part of Armenia, like how Armenian prime minister could do this, one explanation, and a very bad explanation for us, is the fact that by signing this November 10th trilateral statement, Armenian prime minister accepted that Armenia occupied these territories. These territories were under Armenian occupation, and Armenia simply ends the occupation. And I'm pretty sure that when Azerbaijan now is preparing several legal cases against Armenia for illegal usage of, I don't know, some gold mines or whatever it's mines,
resources,
resources, they definitely will use also this November 10th statement telling that, okay, if Armenian prime minister signs statement telling that Armenia will bring back Lachin, Chalabyan, and Aghdam to Azerbaijan, first, Armenia accepted that these territories were under Armenian control. Second, Armenia accepted that these territories were legally part of Azerbaijan. Otherwise, why to return them to Azerbaijan? And which means that if Armenia controls legal part of Azerbaijan, you simply can call it occupation.
Benjamin, going back quickly to the status of this new road, it is amazing that they're talking now about running electricity and communications. But I watched an interview with Hovik Manucharyan, the Minister of Territorial Administration in Artsakh, and even he was saying that they don't even have a hope that gas, even if it's like many months later, they'll be able to run gas through this new road. And they said some creative solutions are necessary. And the only creative solution I can think of is buying Azerbaijani gas. And this is horrible solution. And we knew months in ahead. At least our it seems like our leadership knew months ahead about this.
Well, it's not just knowing, Hovik, how can Armenians work in that land when people are going to be shooting at them? How can an Armenian company go into that territory, as Benjamin was mentioning, without any kind of a status and start laying fiber and laying gas pipelines, right?
Yes, this is very complicated issue. I fully agree that the security is complicated, but the problem is that, yes, I fully agree, because there are discussions in Armenia that, okay, maybe we are able to construct this high-level transmission line and fiber optic cable, hopefully to reach some agreement with mediation of Russia, agreement with Azerbaijan that please not kill our constructors when they will construct these new high-voltage electricity transmission lines or these cables, fabric optic cables. But even in Armenia, people are telling that, oh, gas pipeline is too expensive, so probably, yes, we can relocate only electricity transmission line and internet cables, but not gas pipeline because it's expensive. But
and it's cheaper to buy gas from Azerbaijan.
Okay, they are not telling this, but
and gas. I mean, a lot of Stepanakert rely on gas. Yeah.
Yes, but the gas is not only the issue of like cooking or heating, which itself is a huge issue. But let's not forget that 90% of cars, electricity generation. But even okay, you can say that I'm going to export electricity from Armenia, but at least 90% of cars in Nagorno-Karabakh, by the way, is also in Armenia. They are using this compressed natural gas, so-called CNGs, which means that if you're not using CNGs, then many Armenians simply will not be able to even drive their cars. Plus, like bakeries, which are baking food, bread, and etc., they are using gas.
Right,
so
absolutely.
Without gas, it will be very, very complicated. Okay, you can say that, okay, I will distribute some gas balance, like propan gas balance to population and etc., like we used in Armenia until early 2000 when there was no gas supply. But this will make the life of Armenians in Karabakh even much more harder. And somehow, some maybe will be said that, okay, at least let's take the gas from Azerbaijan. But if you are taking the gas from Azerbaijan, then Azerbaijan will say, okay, sign agreement as a family or household, sign agreement with SOCAR, or I'm not sure how it's called.
I think they're called Azergaz.
Yes, or Azergaz, yes.
Yeah. On the status of the corridor, I think this is an important issue to talk about. It's being talked about post factum, but when we talked with David Galsyan and Hako Palkopyan from the Artsakh or Justice Party in Artsakh, they mentioned that and they're part of the opposition. They are also similar to Armenia, an opposition that really can't do anything because their supermajority is controlled by the ruling party in Artsakh. But they basically said that they will demand from Arayik Harutyunyan that a new statement be signed between Armenia, Russia, and Azerbaijan, explicitly stating that the status of this new road will be the same as the Lachin corridor in the November 9/10 statement. Somehow, I have my reservations that that will happen, considering that Aliyev has all the trump cards. But according to them, Arayik Harutyunyan has reassured that he wants this done for whatever that statement is worth.
Okay, frankly speaking, with all respect to President of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, but if we starting to recall what Arayik Harutyunyan said, starting from his inauguration day, I believe it was in May 21 or 22 in Shushi, 2020, just maybe 4 months before the war. What he said at that time, what he said until September 27, 2020, what he said during the war, and what he said after the war. Frankly speaking, we can argue that a lot promises or pledges of Mr. Arayik Harutyunyan did not become reality, put it very mildly. And I exclude any possibility that Azerbaijan will sign any new trilateral document with Armenia on anything. I mean, even Azerbaijanis now are clearly stating that if they will fail in kicking out the Russians from Nagorno-Karabakh in November 2025, then the extension of term of deployment of Russian peacekeepers, Russian troops, should be done based on a new bilateral document, not the automatic extension of trilateral document. At least this is Azerbaijani position that if we are not lucky enough to kick out Russians and we will be forced to accept the presence of Russian troops in Nagorno-Karabakh after November 2025, at least this should be done based on some bilateral Russia-Azerbaijan agreement.
Let's note that just before the weekend, Erdogan and Putin met in Sochi reportedly for a 4+ hour meeting where the situation in Artsakh was on the agenda. Erdogan, upon his return from the summit, also reiterated Azerbaijan's demand about demilitarization, stating, Azerbaijan naturally does not want any legal armed elements on its territory. And we've since heard that during these ceasefire violations, they also took certain heights. What do you think is the significance and what results will it have on our region? Is there anything that you can say at this point?
Okay, it's very difficult to say anything in particular because we have no information. Yes, we heard the statement from President Erdogan. By the way, today on August 8th, in Ankara, there is a meeting of Turkish ambassadors all around the world. All Turkish ambassadors gathered in Ankara, and also the foreign minister of Azerbaijan gathered there. And also today on August 8th, both President Erdogan and Turkish foreign minister Çavuşoğlu made statements. They strengthened Armenia again, telling that Armenia should stop doing any provocations, and again reiterated that Armenia should accept the olive branch delivered by Turkey and Azerbaijan. Otherwise, Armenia will suffer more. So it was something like a new threats, both from President Erdogan and Turkish Foreign Minister Çavuşoğlu. And again, both Çavuşoğlu and Erdogan stated that yes, there is Armenian-Turkey normalization process, but from the beginning we stated that we don't see this as a bilateral process. We see this as a trilateral process. This is a strong in connection with and in parallel with Armenia-Azerbaijan negotiations. So all should understand that Azerbaijan is not alone. Turkey will support Azerbaijan, and Turkey-Armenia normalization process is part of Armenia-Azerbaijan normalization process. And any significant real achievements can be reached on Armenia-Turkey if Armenia is clever enough to accept the generous offer from Azerbaijan. But regarding in general from Russian position, as far as I understand, until the end of, let's say, the active phase of war in Ukraine, which there are several timetables. Initially, we all hope that this will take over several weeks. Then, starting from mid-April, Russian sources were talking about continuation of operation until end of November 2022. Now, even there are some discussions that the military operation will continue also during winter and probably will end only in the end of February or mid-March 2023. In any case, before the end of this active phase of war in Ukraine, Russia has zero intention to have any problems in South Caucasus. Russia has zero intentions to have any problem with Azerbaijan and also any problem with Turkey. But my feeling is that after the ending this active phase of war in Ukraine on Russia's term, I'm not using the term victory because no one knows what victory means. I'm just telling that if Russia will perceive that this active phase of war, let's assume in March 2023, ended in Russia's terms, whatever these terms are, then my understanding is that Russia will significantly activate its actions in South Caucasus and will be more aggressive, also trying to somehow restrict the Turkish growing ambitions. But this may happen. I'm not in a position to argue that this will happen 100%, but this may happen only after the end of active phase of war in Ukraine. Before that, Russia will do anything not to be involved in any combat clashes like Russian peacekeepers with Azerbaijani troops or Russian border guards deployed in Armenia with Azerbaijani troops. Let's not forget that Russian border guards are deployed, few of them are deployed in Yerazk, several of them are deployed in Parursevak, another village immediately after Yerazk along Armenian-Nakhichevan border in Ararat region. Russian border troops, they have several outposts in Syunik along Armenia-Azerbaijan border. Now Russians are putting out some outposts, military border guard outposts in Tavush region near these so-called enclaves. But again, until the end of active phase of war in Ukraine or first active phase of war in Ukraine, Russia is interested to see calm situation in South Caucasus. He has zero intention to have any problems.
Benjamin, what would be the reason for all these outposts along Armenia's borders?
Okay, good question. One issue is that it's the request of Armenian government because Armenian government knows that our army is in a so weak position that simply cannot resist. Just they are asking Russians, okay, come put your flag, hoping that Azerbaijanis will not enter or will not shoot against Russian soldiers or even the photo or the vision of Russian flag will somehow deter Azerbaijanis from aggressive movements. But here is a very interesting question because from one side, Armenian government is asking Russians, okay, come and protect us. I'm not speaking about Nagorno-Karabakh.
Yeah.
Protect our
Armenia
border from Azerbaijani incursions. But simultaneously, Armenian government almost on a daily basis criticizes Russia, Russian peacekeepers, sending some thinly veiled messages that everything is what is going on in Nagorno-Karabakh is due to some Russia-Azerbaijan or Russia-Azerbaijan-Turkey anti-Armenian conspiracy. So we are losing Artsakh because of Russia. Russian are our enemies, and all this. And this is a very interesting situation. From one end, you are asking Russia, okay, bring more troops just to prevent Azerbaijani occupation of part of Armenia.
Mm-hmm.
But then you are talking anti-Russian sentiment in Armenian society, sending these ideas that, okay, there is a Russia, Azerbaijan, Turkey anti-Armenian conspiracy. Russia wants to destroy Armenia, or Russia wants Azerbaijan and Turkey to destroy Armenia. And here, very interesting question arises. If our government really thinks that Russia wants to destroy Armenia with hands of Azerbaijan and Turkey, then why simultaneously Armenian government asks Russians send troops not to allow Azerbaijanis to enter Armenia? This is a very strange logical situation.
And I have to wonder where the Armenian armed forces are. We don't have nothing, so what are they doing if they can't
it's
even...
a very interesting question because still we have army, we have conscripted soldiers who are not being sent to Nagorno-Karabakh, but they serve in Armenia. And it's a very interesting question why our leadership 21 months after the end of the war, he still strongly believes that our army is not able to protect even Armenia. Right. I'm not speaking about Nagorno-Karabakh because there is a clear vision of current government that Armenia has nothing to do with security of Nagorno-Karabakh. This is problem of Russians. If they will protect Armenians, okay, we are happy. If they will not protect Armenians and Azerbaijanis will kill Armenians in Artsakh or kick them out, we can do nothing.
Maybe this is tangential, but I also want to state that, when we talked previously about the Armenian side agreeing to withdraw all of its troops from Artsakh or Nagorno-Karabakh, there was sort of an understanding or deadline that the last conscripts that would be sort of returning would be in June. But then Aliyev started publicly raising these things about the statement that, there are still like Armenian soldiers in Artsakh. Pashinyan, I believe it was the secretary, was it the secretary of the Security Council?
Yeah, the secretary of Security Council made a statement in late July that all Armenian soldiers will leave Nagorno-Karabakh until end of August, beginning of September.
But that apparently was not enough.
Yes, but then on August 4th, Prime Minister made a statement that there are no Armenian soldiers in Nagorno-Karabakh. So I believe Armenia accelerated this process, like bringing back all of them.
Yeah, there were
until
reports.
the
There were
beginning of
reports
August.
about this being done in one night. Essentially, they took all the Armenian conscripts in a few days, or at least one night, and during nighttime they transported all of them out, which is a huge. I think that was the finalization of what you were saying, that Armenia has decided, that it has nothing to do with
You're
Artsakh.
thinking this was a huge movement, Hovik, but how many people was it?
We don't know, but I mean, it's basically, if you can divide, like, I don't know, I don't want to estimate here, but
Well, yeah, there's no way to speculate, of course, because we don't know the numbers. But on the other hand, Artsakh and Armenia, everybody's dual citizen. You can just basically say that only Artsakh citizens are there.
Frankly speaking, there is no Artsakh citizenship. I mean, there is no passport of Republic of Artsakh or Republic of Nagorno-Karabakh. So all people living in Artsakh, they have Armenian passports.
I think the specific statement was there are no citizens who have registration in Armenia.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were using, and in general, I think that Artsakh's also citizenship so far technically is determined by your registration, whether you registered in Stepanakert.
Yes, like if you have the passport of Republic of Armenia, but your registration address is within Artsakh Republic, you are somehow perceived as a citizen of Republic of Artsakh.
Okay.
Yeah, but all Artsakhis are essentially, they have Armenian passports. So what I wanted to get at is that basically I think this withdrawal, the final withdrawal of Armenian conscripts happened right before or as Azerbaijan started the military action. But apparently, I guess that was not sufficient because they continued it. And Erdogan's statement worries me. How serious do you see the risk of Aliyev and Erdogan continuing to demand complete demilitarization of Artsakh? And what do you think Russia's position on this will be, considering the talks between Erdogan and Putin recently?
Regarding demands, I'm more than sure that Erdogan and Aliyev will continue to make such statements. And even today, several Azerbaijani MPs from the ruling party stated that any Armenian with guns in Artsakh or Nagorno-Karabakh is a legal target for Azerbaijani troops. So from Azerbaijani Turkish perspective, there is no division like Army of Republic of Armenia, Army of Republic of Artsakh. They are telling that, okay, all this is bullshit. This is all the same. There is no Nagorno-Karabakh, no Nagorno-Karabakh Defense Army. All is the same. And there should be no Armenian inside Azerbaijan with any weapon if this Armenian person does not serve in Azerbaijani army, Azerbaijani police, Azerbaijani border troops, or I don't know, Azerbaijani National Security Service. This is clear position of Azerbaijan and Turkey that no Armenians should have any gun or any weapon. Otherwise, we believe that we have a legal right to kill them. Like, for example, if you see the drones attack against Armenian positions on August 3rd, when 2 Armenian soldiers were killed, so Azerbaijanis are telling that these were terrorists, illegal terrorists inside the territory of Azerbaijan, so they are legal targets, and they will continue to state that any Armenian with gun is a legal target and can be killed. Okay, now regarding what Russian peacekeepers can do. Okay, as far as I understand, the Russian peacekeepers are not interested to see all Armenians giving weapons. But also, let's not forget that Russian peacekeepers, for no one knows the real number. Officially, there are some 1,960. Probably in reality, there are more. But there are not enough Russian peacekeepers to put every peacekeeper along this huge line of contact. But also, let's not forget that before September 2020 war, or before September 27, there was not only line of contact. There were trenches, some defense lines, first defense line, second defense line, bunkers, etc., etc. The new line of contact has nothing. It's simply like mountains, little valleys.
It's more complicated, right? It's more complicated.
Yeah,
it's longer.
It's more complicated. It's longer than before. As Armenia stated that it has nothing to do with security of Nagorno-Karabakh, and no Armenian citizen will serve or protect Nagorno-Karabakh in Nagorno-Karabakh with weapon. It means that the number of Nagorno-Karabakh Defense Army is significantly reduced, which means that with significantly reduced numbers of troops, and with significantly increased line of contact and with unprotected line of contacts. Again, no trenches, no mines, no defense line number one, defense line number two, etc., etc. It's very difficult even for Russians, I mean, to control the entire line of contact and to exclude that
Are 2,000 people enough?
Okay, let's assume even they are 3 or 4,000 people. And then don't forget that Nagorno-Karabakh defense army before the war was approximately 25,000. I'm speaking about defense army of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic. Now, because there is no Armenian citizens there, and we all know that the population of Nagorno-Karabakh is no more than 100,000. Okay, how many soldiers can produce or provide the state with 100,000 people? Not too much. While again, now Nagorno-Karabakh Republic has more line of contact and much, much less defended line of contact than, for example, on September 26, 2020.
Benjamin, what is also interesting is that Russia has, it has done it a few times before, but Russia has this week been uncharacteristically blaming Azerbaijan for violating the ceasefire multiple times, including the incidents that took place both on Monday and Wednesday. We saw a statement, I think, just today, where it said that for the incident in Sotk, it also blamed the Azerbaijani side. What do you think this means? Does this mean that Azerbaijan has not coordinated with Russia about its demands on the Lachin and Berdzor corridor? And how far is Aliyev willing to push Russia?
First of all, regarding the latest statement on Sotk, this is very interesting and very concerning because the statement told that within the area of responsibility of Russian peacekeepers in Sotk, Azerbaijan violated ceasefire. But Sotk is not in Nagorno-Karabakh. Sotk is a Republic of Armenian territory, part of Gegharkunik region. So I was surprised and I'm concerned how the part of Gegharkunik region or any area of Republic of Armenia became the responsibility area of Russian peacekeepers. So what does it mean? I mean, legally, this cannot be case. There are no such an agreement that peacekeepers deployed in Nagorno-Karabakh, they are responsible also for any territory of Armenia. But the statement was
Do we know exactly the location? Because if I remember correctly, the Azerbaijanis were claiming that half of the Sotk mine lies on their territory. So is it possible that the incident happened on the border or somewhere like in the right on
even if the incident happened on the border, let's not forget that after our withdrawal, there are no Russian peacekeepers in Karvajar or Kelbajar. So even Karvajar is not part of area of responsibility of Russian peacekeepers because Karvajar is now controlled by Azerbaijan. So even if the incident happened on the Armenia-Azerbaijan border, but near the border again, Armenia-Azerbaijan border in Gegharkunik region or near Sotk or near Vartanits, this was never been area of responsibility for Russian peacekeepers.
Right, it should be Armenian responsibility.
Yes, and this is very worrying because look, starting from end of the war in 2020, we see multiple statements from Armenian government. Something happened in Nagorno-Karabakh, our government says, oh, shame on Russians. This is a area of responsibility of Russian peacekeepers. Shame on you. Why you didn't protect? Now, if part of Gegharkunik region or Sotk, with some miracle, became again the area of Russian peacekeepers, does it mean that if tomorrow Azerbaijanis will enter the Sotk or will kill someone in the Sotk, Armenian government will state, okay, this is a responsibility of Russian peacekeepers, shame on Russian peacekeepers, we cannot do nothing. So this is very strange, and I'm surprised that no one from Armenian government made a counter statement telling that, okay, but what the hell? How can Gegharkunik region be area of responsibility of Russian peacekeepers? Do we have peacekeeping operation in Gegharkunik? It's really very strange.
Right. Well, there's more to talk about, but let's leave this topic. And we have one more topic that I wanted to discuss. Avetik Chalabyan basically was rearrested. Last week, we didn't get a chance to talk about Avetik Chalabyan, who was suddenly released from jail after 2.5 months of prison detention. But the saga didn't end there. This week, the court decided to send Avetik Chalabyan back to prison while he awaits trial for his charges, even though prosecutors did not even request further detention, but rather suggested that Chalabyan may stay free on bail. Yet the judge essentially decided to be holier than the Pope and decided for detention. During the same time, Avetik Chalabyan's brother, Ara was terminated from the central bank, and there was reports in the media that this was done under pressure from the Pashinyan administration, which is concerning. Benjamin, do you have any more information on what happened, and what is your take on all of this?
Okay, obviously there is a zero logic in this case and in this trial, and at least there is a even less than zero logic to again put Mr. Chalabyan into detention. This is clearly absurd. I'm not going to debate the criminal case itself, but it's very clear that if Mr. Chalabyan will not be arrested again, there will be no problem to continue this trial and to try to find out the truth. So to put a re-arrest person, especially prosecutor itself, telling that no, I don't see any necessity to put the person into the jail again. This is like a mockery, I would say, against any perception of justice. Sorry for this. And I believe this is a trend which we see at least after the end of the war, like growing actions of our government to move away from democracy, rule of law, or everything else. So again, this is a very clear, politically motivated decision. I'm not in a position to say that this criminal case is politically motivated, but to arrest Mr. Chalabyan again, it has no logic. So only reasonable explanation. Also, this is not reasonable, but only explanation could be that this is some politically motivated. Otherwise, Mr. Chalabyan simply could be freed on bail or in any other form. Then the trial could continue, and at the end of the day, let court decide if Mr. Chalabyan is to be accused of something or not. But again, even when prosecutor tells that, okay, I don't believe that the person should be in jail, which means that prosecutor does not believe that person without being in jail could put pressure on anyone, witnesses or anyone, and somehow try to undermine the trial, then to make a decision and put the person into jail for 3 months, it's out of logic. And again, it's another sign of Armenian government drifting further away from basic rule of law.
All right, let's wrap up our topics here. I'd like to ask each of you if there's something on your mind that you would like to discuss from the past week. Benjamin, what's on your mind?
Very few. Just again, I will reiterate that what Nagorno-Karabakh Republic authorities did on August 5, sending the minister to tell people to leave Aghavno and Berdzor, this is out of logic, because again, if there were threats, direct, clear threats, that transferred not publicly to Armenian Nagorno-Karabakh Republic authorities, that guys, Azerbaijani troops will enter and will kill, massacre, and rape civilians in Berdzor and Aghavno, Armenian government should publicize this, even if there are no recordings and etc. etc. Armenian government should go to the Council of Europe, OSCE, Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch, UN Human Rights Council, everywhere, telling that, look, Azerbaijani government threatens to kill innocent civilians, which is like out of 21st century logic. But instead of that, Armenia and Nagorno-Karabakh Republic authorities sends a minister who said that, okay, you should leave because no one knows for what. Like it's like to take somehow it was action to cover the Azerbaijani misdeeds. Again, if there was a real, clear, transferred threat that Azerbaijani troops will kill all people there, starting from young children and ending with elderly. If there was no such threats, then I don't see any logic why we had the situation when the minister of Nagorno-Karabakh Republic went to Berdzor and Aghavno and says that, okay, guys, you should leave your homeland until August 25.
Okay. Hovik, what's on your mind?
I'm not going to be ranting today, but I want to wish the Armenian chess team good luck because they have proceeded to the finals of the 44th FIDE Chess Olympiad in Chennai. And also congratulate the Armenian men's team today on very profound victory against Azerbaijan 3-1. If Armenia wins, and fingers crossed, this will be the 4th time a small country like Armenia will be a gold champion essentially in the chess Olympiad. First time being 2006, then 2008, and 2012. And this is, unprecedented for a country the size of Armenia. So, but I think that, we have a good chance today, this time, and it will be just terrific to have some good news.
Hear, hear. I second that. If only all those brains would go all the way up to the top echelons of the leadership. All right, we're going to leave it there for today. Thanks, Benyamin, for joining us. It's always great to talk with you.
Thanks, Asbed. Thanks, Hovik. Take care.
Thank you, Benyamin.
That's our show this week. We hope you found it informative. Now go find us on social media and follow us. Go, go, go. We'll talk to you next week.